Sometimes I make excuses for things that I know I should be doing, and it's always bullshit. Every time it's bullshit. Like, for example, cold showers can be really good for you. They're not always good for you, but generally speaking, they are good for you, and there's many reasons why you should do them. But this talk isn't about how great cold showers are. This talk is about making excuses. And so sometimes I will decide, okay, I'm going to start taking cold showers again. There was a time in my life when I only took cold showers. I don't do that anymore. I don't really need to do it anymore because the reason why I took the cold showers that time in my life has passed for the time being. But sometimes it's necessary to reintegrate something from your past. And so I've decided that it's time for me to take cold showers. But I'll catch myself because I'll get into the shower, I'll turn on hot water, and then I'll say to myself, it'll be a little voice in the back of my head at first, and it'll say, oh, you need to take a hot shower first because you won't be able to clean yourself properly with cold water. You need the hot water to get all the dirt off and all the sweat off. And if I listen to that voice, then I'm going to take a hot shower and I'm going to scrub myself down, and then maybe I'll take a cold shower at the end. But that's bullshit. It's a bullshit excuse. I don't need to take a hot shower to get myself clean. I can get myself clean just fine with a cold shower. I might have to scrub a little bit harder, but I can get myself clean. So where did that voice come from? Why was there a little voice in the back of my head telling me it's okay to take a hot shower when I know that I should be taking a cold shower? I've been practicing Tantric yoga for a very long time, over 20 years now. And there's this thing called being and becoming. And see, the trick is that this process, being and becoming, it never goes away. We have some esoteric terms that we apply within Tantra to describe this process of being and becoming. Being, at least in the first initiation, when you first are born into this world, you're getting your legs about you, and you have this deep connection to Shakti and the animalistic side of yourself. Being is a state of inertia that you're trying to reach, which we associate with Shiva. That's the esoteric concept. And becoming is the force that makes you move, that causes you a feeling of dissatisfaction. That's becoming. Shiva is often represented as a corpse laying on the ground. There's actually a yoga posture called Shavasana that references Shiva's inert condition. And Shiva is not just a god. Shiva is a form of consciousness, a metaphysical concept. Shakti is not just a goddess. She is also a form of consciousness and a metaphysical concept. And one of the many ways that we can interpret Shiva and Shakti is the lens of being and becoming. Now, to further illustrate this and clarify this distinction, I'm going to make reference to kind of an obscure, it's not nearly as obscure as it used to be, but kind of an obscure concept within the realm of economics. There is a famous economist named Ludwig von Mises, and he is regarded as the founder of the Austrian School of Economics. Now, whether or not you agree with the tenets of the Austrian School of Economics, or whether or not you even know what the fuck that is, Mises developed an important frame of reference or conceptual system, perspective for the analysis of human action. And this particular system that I'm referring to is called praxeology. And praxeology is the study of human action. And there is a very important axiom within praxeology, and that is this: no human will take action, or no thing will take action, unless there is an unsatisfied need or desire. So, something that is in a state of total satisfaction will not take action. And in the realm of Tantra, we define Shiva, this inert being, as something that doesn't take action until there is an introduction of an unsatisfied need or desire that we call Shakti. Shakti is the active principle of the universe. So any time that we have antagonism, irritation, something that brings us to action, we can call that Shakti. And any time we have something that brings us to a state of inactivity or inertia, we can call that thing Shiva. Now, what does this have to do with cold showers and that little voice in the back of my head that tells me, oh, I can just take a hot shower instead? In this process of being and becoming, there are certain pitfalls that you have to watch out for. One of those pitfalls is a tendency towards being that cuts you away from the ability to access transformation. Because I can, in my conceptualization of any state of being, decide that I have reached a state of satisfaction. And I can convince myself of that state of satisfaction. I can say, I don't really need to take a cold shower. I don't really want to take a cold shower. So I will just maintain the present condition of taking hot showers. But this is tricky because there is not a hard line between being and becoming. These lines are blurred. because I might actually, or at least part of me, might want to take the hot shower instead of the cold shower. So is that really being, or is that becoming? It's a matter of perspective. But we need to be aware of how we are perceiving and therefore how we are integrating the process of being and becoming, so that we have full understanding, or at least the highest degree of understanding, in relation to our own destiny. We can shape our destiny to a degree. But in order to do that, we have to be aware of what direction we are going and what little tricks we play on ourselves to keep us off the path or to put us on a different path. Knowledge is power in that way. But knowledge is not the only important aspect to bring your attention to. There's an attitude that you can adopt. And it's not the best attitude. It's not the only attitude. But it is a useful attitude if you're trying to make yourself stronger. And that is this: do the job right or don't do it at all. Now, why would you want to adopt this attitude? If we have made up our mind that there's a certain mission that we should undertake, like I am going to take cold showers. If we've made up our mind, one of the best ways that we can assure victory in our mission of becoming, of transforming ourselves into a new condition, moving from hot showers to cold showers, or whatever other mission we have set ourselves on, one of the best ways we can assure victory is to say, I'm not going to do it at all. At all. I'm not even going to step on that path unless I do it right. Unless I give it my all. Now, of course, there is the benefit of putting your full will, your full wrath, your full might into completing that mission. And so therefore, you increase your chances of having the outcome that you want. But there's another benefit to this. And the other benefit is that it teaches you how to love and how to care and how to make the most out of life and your interactions with other people. Because if you say, I'm not going to be friends with that person unless I can be the best friend I can possibly be. I'm not going to love that person romantically unless I can love them to the best of my ability. I'm not going to record that song. I'm not going to write that novel. I'm not going to run that marathon unless I can do it to the best of my ability. Then you learn how to, you gain the siddhi, you gain the power to love with an open heart, totally open heart, total dedication, total faith, total devotion. And that kind of faith, devotion, ability to love, that kind of thing that you put out into the world, comes back to you. You can only receive as much love as you are able to give. So, something as simple as deciding to take cold showers can teach you how to love and how to be loved in return. And that is why it is so important not to make excuses to keep yourself from doing things that might seem small, like taking a cold shower, but in the long run, it all adds up. It all adds up to your ability to give a shit and for people to give a shit about you. So don't make any excuses.